Pakistan has announced it will host indirect talks between the US and Iran in the coming days, aiming to negotiate an end to the ongoing month-long conflict. Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said Pakistan is honored to facilitate discussions that both Iran and the US have expressed confidence in. However, the format and success of the talks are still uncertain, with no immediate confirmation from either side. The war has claimed over 3,000 lives, including 13 US service members, and disrupted global oil supplies and air travel. Iran's parliament speaker has warned of severe consequences if ground troops enter the conflict. Meanwhile, the US has not officially commented on the upcoming talks. Pakistan's role as a neutral mediator between the US and Iran highlights the complexity of diplomatic efforts to resolve the escalating tensions. The outcome of these talks remains unclear, but they offer hope for a peaceful resolution to the ongoing conflict. North Korea has conducted a test of an upgraded solid-fuel missile engine, according to state media. The test, which was observed by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, reportedly boosts the engine's maximum thrust to 2,500 kilonewtons, an increase from the previous test that reached 1,970 kilonewtons. Experts are cautious about North Korea's claims, noting that critical details, such as the engine's total combustion time, have not been disclosed. South Korean analysts like Lee Chun-jun from the Science and Technology Policy Institute question the validity of North Korea's reports due to a lack of key technical information. This test is part of North Korea's ongoing 5-year plan to enhance its strategic military capabilities. The development aims to produce more agile and hard-to-detect weapons targeting the US and its allies. This increases the country's missile technology and strategic military muscle. The significance of this test lies in its potential to signal future missile launches or advancements in missile capabilities, impacting regional security dynamics. As the details of the test remain uncertain, international observers await further clarification on the specifics and implications of North Korea's missile advancements. A Yemen-based Houthi rebel group launched a missile at Israel. This marks their first attack since the Middle East conflict began in February. Israeli defense forces intercepted the missile, though the exact location of the attack remains unclear. The Houthi rebels are a key part of Iran's axis of resistance and have been fighting the internationally recognized Yemeni government since 2014. This recent missile attack, which follows a period of relative calm, raises concerns about potential disruptions to Red Sea shipping routes, vital for global trade and energy supplies. The Red Sea is a crucial corridor for global trade, including oil and liquefied natural gas. Any further attacks by the Houthis on shipping routes could exacerbate economic instability, particularly affecting global energy markets. The possibility of increased pressure on Iran leading to heightened tensions could further escalate the situation, with the Houthis potentially launching more aggressive actions. With ongoing tensions between Iran, the US and Israel, the international community is closely monitoring the situation for any signs of further conflict that could impact global maritime security and economic stability. A humpback whale stranded in the Baltic Sea near Germany's coast is showing signs of weakening. This raises serious concerns about its survival and ability to return to the Atlantic. Rescue efforts have been ongoing since the whale was first spotted swimming in the Baltic on March 3. However, recent attempts to free it have not succeeded. Experts from the Institute for Terrestrial and Aquatic Wildlife Research are observing the whale closely. They report that the animal has developed a skin disease and has significantly reduced respiratory activity. This suggests that it may be too weak to navigate the narrow straits that separate the Baltic from the North Sea. Environment Minister Til Backhaus of Mecklenburg-Pomerania has stated that the whale's condition is worsening and that it might be injured after coming into contact with a fishing net. Despite the challenges, officials are maintaining a 500 meters restricted area around the whale to give it space and rest. The hope is that the whale will regain enough strength to swim free and navigate back to the Atlantic. However, the distance to the open sea is approximately 500 kilometers, and the straits are narrow and complex. This makes the journey extremely difficult for a weakened whale. With the whale's condition deteriorating, The next step is to continue monitoring and assessing its health while considering alternative rescue strategies. The fate of this humpback whale remains uncertain. However, the focus now is on providing the best possible care and support until its condition improves or a viable rescue plan is found. The European Union is expanding its powers to track, raid, and deport migrants to return hubs in third countries, adopting methods similar to those used by the Trump administration. The EU's new policies, known as the Pact on Migration and Asylum, take effect on June 12, 2026. These measures aim to prevent a repeat of the 2015 migration crisis, when approximately 1 million people sought asylum, primarily from Syria's civil war. Italy, for instance, operates 2 migrant detention centers for rejected asylum seekers in Albania, currently holding at least 90 migrants. Human rights groups warn that these policies could lead to increased illegal pushbacks and the erosion of migrants' legal protections. Over 80,000 pushbacks were recorded in 2025, mostly in Italy, Poland, Bulgaria, and Latvia. This raises concerns about human rights abuses and the treatment of migrants at EU borders. The adoption of stricter immigration policies follows a trend of right-wing parties gaining power in several EU countries. This leads to a political momentum toward harsher measures despite the EU maintaining more legal protections for migrants compared to the US. Israeli police prevented Catholic leaders from entering the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem to celebrate Palm Sunday Mass. This sparks international criticism. The decision by the Israeli authorities came amid ongoing safety concerns related to the Iran war. The Latin Patriarchate in Jerusalem called the move a manifestly unreasonable and grossly disproportionate measure. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a site of immense religious significance, has been hosting private masses since the start of the conflict. However, this was the first time Catholic leaders were barred from entering. Pope Leo XIV, in a statement, prayed for Christians in the Middle East, noting many are unable to fully participate in holy rites due to conflicts. U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Italian leaders all condemned the decision, emphasizing the importance of religious freedom. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu explained that the decision was made out of safety concerns, but assured that efforts are being made to partially open the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in the coming days to enable church leaders to worship at the site. The partial United States government shutdown has become the longest in American history, lasting 44 days. The shutdown has led to severe disruptions at airports due to a shortage of unpaid Transportation Security Administration (TSA) officers. President Donald Trump signed an order to begin paying TSA agents, but the legal implications and congressional deadlock remain unresolved. About 500 TSA officers have quit, and on Friday, more than 3,560 called out sick or did not report to work, accounting for 12.35% of the agency's total workforce. The shutdown is primarily due to disagreements over funding for the Department of Homeland Security, particularly for immigration enforcement. Republicans and Democrats are at odds, with Democrats seeking reforms and Republicans insisting on full funding for immigration agencies. With lawmakers on a 2-week break and no deal in sight, the impasse continues, leading to significant operational issues at airports. This includes severe delays and staffing shortages. The shutdown's impact has raised concerns about the United States' ability to host the upcoming World Cup starting in June. The immediate next step is for Congress to find a compromise, as the current stalemate shows no sign of ending. In recent weeks, U.S. President Donald Trump's comments on the Iran conflict have historically influenced oil prices. However, market reactions have become more muted. Despite Trump's optimistic statements, oil prices peaked at $118 a barrel on March 19, 2026, have remained elevated. Investors are increasingly skeptical about the reliability of Trump's rhetoric and its impact on geopolitical and economic risks. Jonathan Raymond, an investment manager at Quilter Cheviot, notes that energy prices have become a proxy for wider geopolitical risks, spiking with aggressive language and easing when rhetoric de-escalates. However, Brian Scheidel at the Bonson Group suggests that some of Trump's comments may be aimed at influencing oil prices rather than reflecting genuine policy changes. This disconnect has led to growing uncertainty among traders, with oil prices remaining high despite Trump's reassurances. As the conflict continues, investors are wary of the gap between Trump's optimistic outlook and Iran's lack of acknowledgement. This leads to sustained market anxiety. Even as Transportation Security Administration workers receive their overdue paychecks, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents could continue to be stationed at U.S. airports. This information comes from comments by former ICE Director Tom Homan, who suggests that ICE operations at airports are independent of TSA worker compensation issues. The delays in paying TSA workers have raised concerns about morale and operational effectiveness at the nation's airports. However, continued presence of ICE agents at airports could add another layer of controversy and concern among TSA workers and the public. Haman's statement highlights the ongoing separation of duties between TSA and ICE at airports. TSA focuses on security screening and checkpoint operations, while ICE handles immigration enforcement. What remains unresolved is the extent to which the public and TSA workers will be affected by the potential prolonged presence of ICE officers at airports. That's despite the resolution of the pay dispute.